On behalf of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, I welcome you to the purely wonderful place, which is the College of Charleston. Would you please stand for our national anthem, which will be sung by our enormously talented student, Wendell Price.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Bishop Robert Smith, the first president of the College of Charleston, often offered this prayer. O Lord, our heavenly Father, the high and mighty ruler of the universe, most heartily we beseech thee with thy favor to behold and bless thy servant, the governor of South Carolina, and all others in authority. So replenish them with the grace of thy Holy Spirit, that they may always incline to thy will and walk in thy way. Endure them plenteously with heavenly gifts. Grant them in health and in prosperity long to live, and finally, after this life, to obtain everlasting joy. Amen. What a prayer. It's Bishop Robert E. Smith. Hardly ever hear prayers like that anymore. It's especially appropriate today. Among our soon-to-be proud graduates is included none other than the governor of South Carolina, for whom Bishop Smith, our first president, so urgently sought divine guidance. We look forward greatly to hearing his message as our commencement speaker. In the meantime, let us rejoice in all of those who are graduating today from the College of Charleston. Just a few short years ago, they came to us with high hopes, lofty ambitions, and a commitment to learn. With increased knowledge gained through hard work, perseverance, diligence, they have finally arrived at this grand day. More important than the information they have absorbed and the skills they have learned, they have acquired something which will guide them when the information becomes outdated and the skills outworn. They have learned what colleges and universities struggle most desperately to teach. They have learned how to learn. Those we teach and those who teach us are only those whose lives we share. Our graduates have honored us by sharing their lives with us and by allowing us to share our lives with them. Today, we honor them for having done so. Today is also a family affair representing love, patience, and in many instances, real sacrifice. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the faculty, and the administration, we honor today not only the graduates, but their families as well, particularly the mothers on Mother's Day. So before proceeding further, I will recognize a distinguished visitor Visitors to our ceremonies, United States Senator J. Strom Thurmond and his wife Nancy Thurmond. Among Senator Thurmond's innumerable accomplishments, he holds a degree from the College of Charleston. We are proud to count him among our distinguished alumni. Senator Thurmond and Ms. Thurmond are here today to see the graduation of their daughter Julie, soon to join her father as one of our distinguished alumni herself, Senator and Ms. Thurmond. An integral part of our commencement activities is the awards ceremony, which was held yesterday. I ask before proceeding further that each of the award recipients who are graduating today to stand so that we may again congratulate them on their outstanding accomplishments. Our award recipients. Stand up. Finally, I recognize our senior class for the approximately $12,000 they raised for the class gift to the college. Over 500 seniors took part in the fundraising effort to purchase a sculpture cast in bronze of our mascot, the intrepid cougar. It's entitled On the Prowl. The sculpture is particularly significant because it is made by Professor John Michel and his sculptor students. Many thanks to the seniors for helping make the gift possible. We are grateful to them for their gift, which is portrayed as a photograph to my left and your right, the intrepid cougar, soon to be cast in bronze. At this time, I present Mr. Mike Green, president of the graduating class, who will make a statement on behalf of the senior class, followed by Ms. Mary Addison Heckett, president of the Student Government Association, who will make a statement on behalf of the entire student body.
Thank you, President Sanders. Governor Beasley, distinguished guests, Board of Trustees, President Sanders, class of '96, certainly, family and friends, welcome. It is a great honor to be given the opportunity to address you and my classmates as a part of graduation this year. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts with you. In thinking about this day, I have thought a lot about the terms growth and learning. Certainly, we have learned many things: how to gracefully trip over bricks on the campus, how to dodge relentless roaches in the nights in Charleston, which excuses work with which professors, and how to wash and cook somewhat without having to rely on mom too heavily. Perhaps not so surprisingly, we have also grown and learned much through our coursework and through the relationships we have formed with the faculty and the staff and each other. We will always have bonds between us that are special. One of the greatest lessons I have learned, though, is one that my mother shared with me when I left for college: the importance of attitude. As I unpacked my bags that day in the dorm, there was a slip of paper that she asked me to read and live by. It has come to mean a great deal to me, so I'd like to share it with you. The paper was entitled Attitude by Charles Swindoll, and the Reverend Charles Swindoll wrote, "The longer I live, the more important I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think or say or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we will embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. And the only thing we can do is play on the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Well, my attitude today, and I believe I speak for most of us on stage, is one of thankfulness and celebration. To my friends and to my fellow classmates, I wish you nothing but happiness and continued success in life, and I hope that you can take some of this that I've given you today and use it in your own life. To our parents and to the college, we are thankful for your support and your encouragement. We have been well prepared, and the future is now ours to earn. Thank you for making it all possible.
Governor Beasley, President Sanders, trustees, faculty and staff, friends and family, and finally the class of 1996. First of all, I want to say congratulations and how exciting it is that this day is finally here. I also want to say thank you. It has also been my distinct honor and my privilege to serve as your student body president this year, and I thank you for allowing me the opportunity. One would think that by now I'd probably be a pro at giving speeches, but this one to me is unlike any one I've ever given. I feel like we've come to an end of a chapter in our lives. However, when I really looked at it, this is the beginning, our commencement, the start of something brand new, whether it be a new career, a graduate school, or a summer internship. But whatever our course may be, I feel that the College of Charleston has prepared us and that we are ready to face the challenges that are quickly approaching. I want to quickly tell you about a race that took place back in 1973 that some may consider one of the greatest athletic performances of all time. The winner of this race was Secretariat, a horse. And as a result of winning this race, he took home the Triple Crown. What made this race so impressive is that as Secretariat made his trip around the course, at every quarter pole, his time was faster than the quarter before. He finished the race unchallenged, running at top speed, even faster than when he left the starting gate. My challenge to myself and to the class of 1996 is that we will become more and more like Secretariat daily. That as we chart our course and as we run our race, that we would continue to increase in speed and strength so that in the end, our hard work and dedication would lead to our ultimate success. I've heard it said before that people who stand still may avoid stubbing their toes, but in the end, they wouldn't have made much progress. However, I also understand that we are only human and that we will face obstacles that at times may seem too large to conquer. But one hope that I cling to and would like to share to you this morning is found in Isaiah 40, verses 30 through 31. It reads, "Even the youth shall faint and be weary, the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." So when the obstacles do come, it is encouraging to know that we have a support system that will lead us through. So in conclusion, if we continue to learn, increase in our faith, work hard and diligently, and mature into a person of great character, we, just like Secretariat, will be successful. And as time goes on, we will increase in momentum, and we will surely finish strong. So again, congratulations. And I am, as I'm sure you are, proud to be a graduate of the College of Charleston and very excited to be able to call this my alma mater.
I will now be joined by several members of the college family for conferring of the honorary degree. Mr. Joel Smith, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Conrad Festa, our Provost. I now ask trustees Mrs. Sylvia Harvey and Mr. Creighton McMaster to escort Governor David Muldrow Beasley to the podium. I hereby present Governor Beasley, Governor of South Carolina, Educated in the public schools, he attended Clemson University, majoring in microbiology at age 20. During his junior year at Clemson, he ran for the South Carolina House of Representatives, and upon his election to the House, he transferred to the University of South Carolina. In 1983, he received his Juris Doctor degree from the University of South Carolina School of Law. As a member of the South Carolina House from 1979 through 1992, Mr. Beasley rose quickly through the House leadership, serving as Majority Whip and later as Speaker Pro Tempore of the House, as well as Majority Leader. The youngest Speaker Pro Tempore and Majority Leader in the United States. As Chairman of the Education and Public Works Committee and Chairman of the Joint Legislative Study Committee on Education, he was a driving force behind education reform in South Carolina. He served as Vice Chairman of the Joint Legislative Committee on Children, as Chairman of the Education Committee. He served as an ex officio member of the Boards of Trustees at the University of South Carolina, the College of Charleston, Francis Marion College, Lander College, Winthrop College, South Carolina State College, and the Educational Television Network of South Carolina. He also served as an ex officio member of the Highway Commission and the Aeronautics Commission. He served on the South Carolina Mining Council and the South Carolina Board of Fellowship of Christian Athletes, as well as many other community and civic and statewide committees. He is a member of the Shandon Baptist Church in Columbia. It is my pleasure to present Governor David Muldrow Beasley, the 113th person to take the oath of office of the Governor of South Carolina.
David Muldrow Beasley has served the state of South Carolina and its citizens admirably and well. Because of your dedication and commitment to improving the lives of the citizens of South Carolina, the College of Charleston is honored to bestow on you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
By the authority of the state of South Carolina, granted to the College of Charleston Board of Trustees and committed to me, I declare that Governor David Muldrow Beasley is now admitted to the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters of the College of Charleston. Congratulations, Dr. Beasley. You all have heard the formal presentation of Governor Beasley. I thought perhaps I should say a little more under the circumstances. He and I have known each other for a long, long time. In fact, we have been friends since both of us were Democrats. Isn't that a long time ago? Let me share with you just one memory. Not a particularly significant one. On the other hand, maybe more significant than it first appears. At least it's one that is peculiarly mine. When he was barely 20 years old and a student at Clemson, he ran for the South Carolina House of Representatives from Darlington County. You all know that he was successful. But you don't know how difficult that was. In doing so, he boldly challenged an entrenched incumbent greatly possessed of the ultimate political advantage of the day, seniority. With the rising hue and cry for term limits, seniority has fallen into disrepute lately, but that was not the case in 1978. Well, repeating the Bible story, little David slew the incumbent, who incidentally was a former Clemson football player and bore a striking resemblance to Goliath. I'm sure if he were around today, both Carolina and Clemson would seek to recruit him. In any event, it was not over then. The problem was the margin of his victory. As I recall, it was less than 50 votes. Is that about right? Well, a recount was ordered in Columbia. Recount, the horror of all victors. The problem presented was quite obvious, having been elected in Darlington County, and how could he avoid getting counted out in Columbia? Or more precisely, how could he get anybody, and most especially the media, to take any notice of the recount and make sure the power of incumbency did not overcome the ballot box in Darlington. What do you suppose the future governor did? Apparently nobody remembers this but me. He walked from Darlington to Columbia for the recount. And let me tell you, every newspaper, every TV, every radio station in the state carried the story, and the recount was strictly honest under the scrutiny of so many, and he won his first election. Of course, I did not know then that he would become the governor of South Carolina and the recipient of an honorary degree from the College of Charleston. I didn't know that he would accomplish that at the time, but I thought he probably would. Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of South Carolina, now an alumnus of the College of Charleston, Dr. David Muldrow Beasley.
President Sanders said, do you remember that? How could I forget? 1978. It's the middle of August. It was 100 degrees. Walking from Society Hill, it's another 15 miles, and you don't appreciate that until you're out there in 100 degrees. So if you think it's hot today, just think about that day when I was a junior from Clemson University walking 190 miles in that hot sun. And Lord knows we've come a long way, us old fellow Democrats. Right, Republican President Sanders? It is a pleasure to be here with so many fine friends, and Senator Thurman, who has a daughter graduating today who taught me everything I ever needed to know about politics, and to be with so many fine people, the faculty and Chairman Smith, the Board of Trustees, our distinguished guests, and particularly the families here today and our graduates of this class of 1996. I consider it indeed an honor to address this class. You've been, Mr. President, very kind and generous to me today, presenting me with this honorary degree, and the fact that I didn't have to stumble my toes around campus or put up with the roaches is something I take pride in. Most of the teachers said I didn't earn the degrees that I did get, but to come down here and really receive this gesture, this kindness, really means a lot to me, because this is one of the finest institutions in America, one of the oldest institutions in America that we should take pride in, and one of the most beautiful, in fact, the most beautiful city in America. And I hope that I live up to the excellence that this honorary degree represents, that standard of excellence. As to you, the class of 1996, you represent this college's finest, the standard of excellence. You've got a lot to be proud of. We all know that. But I think we're so proud of Mom and Dad, our parents, for making this happen, because you know what sacrifice many of them had to put up, not just emotional, but also financial. And they're truly the forgotten heroes of today's graduation, because it took a lot of sacrifice for the families for you to be here today. But the truth is, you're worth every single penny that's been invested. And we know that the gifts that you will give back to us because of what we've done, what your parents have done, it'll be immeasurable. And you're thinking there, well, maybe I'm not sure about that, but I know we are. We're probably more sure of that than you, because we see in you the potential for greatness. Young men and women of courage, conviction, of good character. But from where you're sitting, you have a lot of questions, a little more nervous about that road ahead, facing decision after decision, which road to follow, sight unseen, what lies beyond the hill, what turns are to be made. But you've been prepared today to put to good use all that you've learned from these 16-plus years of education. I say plus because there were those of us who obviously had more than 16 years to get to this point in undergraduate. Many of you took 4 or 5 or 6 years, not the magna cum laude, but the thank the laude, as some people would say. But while you're preparing to move out there into the land unknown, let me say very clearly that we in leadership in the public sector and the private sector working in partnership have been preparing the road for you, getting that job market ready for you. Because it's essential that you have good, quality, top-paying, long-sustaining jobs. And South Carolina is breaking records beyond your farthest imagination in that area. 1995 was a record-breaking year of announcing over 24,000 new jobs, paying 27% higher than the average wage, $5.4 billion of capital investments. In a comparative analysis, that's twice, almost twice what the state of Georgia did, which is almost twice our size. We are preparing a place that you can proudly live and improve the quality of life by an improved standard of living. Some of you have a very clear idea of which of those jobs you want, and you're ready to go forward, ready to pursue them, ready to make it happen. I got a letter in my office not long ago from someone who knew exactly what type of job they wanted. It was sent in by an elementary school teacher who had been teaching her students about careers, entitled, "What You Want to Be When You Grow Up." She asked her students, what type of job would you like to do in your community? And one little boy said he'd like to work for the governor. I was fairly impressed by that. Immediate signs of brilliance, I thought. Then I saw the picture he had drawn of himself doing this job. His idea of the governor's office worker was a guy literally sit back in a chair, reclined as far as the chair could go back, feet up on the desk, watching TV. Realizing the young boy had gotten a little confused, I immediately sent his resume over to the White House. But I'll tell you, that's a young man with some goals, some life goals. And that child is not alone. It's not alone at all in America. A lot of folks have that very same idea, that when they're out there looking for jobs, that where can I make the most money and do the least amount of work? Somebody said the governor. But what they don't ask nowadays is, where can I use the best of the talents that I have to do the most good? Well, I have a great vision for this class of what it can be, what it can do. I believe this class is literally ready to swing its legs off the desk, move forward, get to work on making South Carolina and the rest of the country and world an outstanding place to live. South Carolina needs you, your enthusiasm, your hope, your ideas, your dreams. We need you to be thinkers, to deliver on all the marketplace will demand of you in the millennium. We need you to be dreamers for all we may dare to accomplish there. And most importantly, we need you to be leaders of character, men and women who hold fast to the truth despite constant change. In other words, South Carolina needs you to be leaders with smarts, ideas, and backbone. And I'd like to talk about these three things, starting with the idea of thinker. Obviously, you've demonstrated thinking abilities you wouldn't be here today. Here at the college, you've certainly taken in a lot of information over these years. You've learned to cram entire chapters into your heads right before an exam. But the key question is, have you learned to think? Have you learned to practically apply the knowledge and wisdom you've gathered here into real life experience? Because the thinker is about to become the workforce's hottest commodity. You see it all over the world, a changing workplace, requiring greater skills, abilities to think on site. You've seen the changes not only in the workplace, but you're seeing it right here on campus. Technology is sending the world spinning. It's revolutionizing everything, the direction and literally the pace by which the working world you will enter. And that change of pace requires truly a changing workforce with leaders who know how to lead, create, make decisions, and most of all, adapt. Just think about how far and how fast we have come just in this past half century. The world's first computer took up more space than an 18-wheeler and did about 5,000 instructions per second. Today, a microprocessor is about the size of a dime, weighs less than a sugar packet, and can execute about 54 million instructions per second. The dynamics of change are here. Things are changing almost faster than literally we can keep up. And while your brain is undeniably the world's greatest creation of a computer, it's one that we have to keep stretching to keep it from becoming obsolete. In fact, in South Carolina, the State Chamber of Commerce did a survey among South Carolina employers, and they found out that skills like communications, complex thinking, and the ability to work as a team are the most important to them, more than sheer technical ability. Your future employers are expecting you to leave here today ready to bend and flex your mental abilities, your mental muscles in the jobs that they are creating. And I've heard too many times business leaders say they can't find people to fill their computer jobs or handle technical positions. Employers are on the hunt for good people who can meet their demands so they can compete, provide a first-class service, produce a first-class product, so that we can compete in the global economy, so that we can maintain our standard of living and improve our quality of life. And I believe that you are the ones to do it. South Carolina needs you, the thinker, but we also need the dreamer. We need people who have a big vision for all that South Carolina can be, and for those who are willing to pursue it with passion. Critics, as you know, like to beat up on dreamers, because dreamers are naive enough to think that problems might actually have solutions. Well, I believe it's rather naive to think that out of this planet with 5.5 billion people, from a graduating class of 925 students, that our problems are greater than our resolve. There's no doubt, as you look around the world with the turmoil, countries are being torn apart by war. Terrorism is spilling blood right along our own homeland in America. Children are becoming attempted murderers at age 6. Families are coming undone. Yet the easiest thing that we could do would be to give up. But giving up would only give hatred and hopelessness free rein. And that's something that people of conscience should never, ever allow to happen. I hope you will become part of the fraction of the Earth's billions who are committed to a vision of change. Even a fraction of a billion makes for a powerful force. And don't let those critics tell you you're too young or too idealistic, because believe me, they will. You pursue that vision. And look at me. I was 20 years of age when I ran for the House of Representatives. Junior, college, studying microbiology when the political bug bit me. I ran, and people said I was too young. And I won. Served with President Sanders, and I can remember running for the majority leader, to be the youngest in the country, and people said, "You're too young." And I won. Same thing with chairman of the Education Committee. Same thing with Speaker Pro Tem. People were saying, "You're too young." And then I decided to run for governor. Well, here I am. People said I was too young. And my background wasn't any different, is not any different than yours. I was just an average student on campus. In a fraternity, playing ball, getting into trouble. And people must have thought I was just a crazy kid when I began to run for the House, and they're probably right. I didn't have any idea about running the state at age 20. But one thing I do know is that I cared about working with people. I had compassion, and if you will have compassion with vision and courage, you too can obtain great things. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, or how much experience, or where you come from. You've got to get in there and stick with it. Soak up as much knowledge as you possibly can and never give up. I can remember on election night, my father saying to someone, "Well, if I'd known this was going to happen, I would have made him study harder." But the truth is, I was just like you. A young person that cared about America. I just find that literally when you look around in life, and experience will teach you and tell you that those with the greatest passion are those that reach their greatest potential. And talent is no guarantee for success if you don't have the drive to pursue it. You may recall the Olympic pole vaulter, Bob Richards, who said that a lot of people could be champions who never tried. He said, 5 million people could have beaten me the years I won, at least. Men who were stronger, bigger, faster than I was could have done it. But they never picked up a pole, never made the feeble effort to get their legs off the ground to try to get over the bar. You see, it doesn't matter whether you ever become governor or star athlete. Each of us are called to push ourselves toward that higher bar, that highest standard, no matter what path we pursue in life. And that leads me to your most important calling yet. South Carolina needs you, above all things, to be men and women of character. You'll find out that if you haven't already, and I'm sure you have, that in this world there's more than their fair share of snakes, sharks, and backbiters. It's just not in politics. But the world can't get enough of good Samaritans, kind strangers, and loving neighbors. Let me give you 2 short stories. A professor was teaching in theology and told his students that the next day they would have a quiz on the story of the Good Samaritan. And he asked the students to study up on it. The next day they'd have this quiz. So the next morning the professor, knowing that the students go by a certain path to class, got an old dusty beat up hat, some torn and ripped up clothing and put it on and lay down by the path that the students took every day, and laid down as if he had been beaten and left to die. Each and every one of the students who had studied the night before the Good Samaritan walked by the professor, not lending one single helping hand. Needless to say, they all flunked the test. Another story is a young man who died, and he met the good Lord. And the Lord walked down the hall and showed him two rooms. The first room he walks into. And the facts are as this. There was a kettle of soup, quite good soup, with chairs around the kettle, with people in the chairs. And there was a ladle about 4 feet long, too long for an individual to put the soup in their individual mouth. And all of these people were starving and dying. Fear, hopelessness, despair. Because they couldn't feed themselves. Each was trying to feed themselves. One person would be sitting in the chair and couldn't get the food to the mouth, starving. And the Lord took the man to the next room. And there was the same factual scenario, the kettle of soup, the chairs around. And there was a ladle. And everyone was happy, well-nourished, smiling, hope, courage. And the man said, Lord, I don't understand. The rooms were the same. Everything except the outlook and the hopelessness versus the hope. What was the difference? And the Lord said, those in the room that were well fed, who were full of hope, had learned to feed one another. Albert Einstein had a great piece of advice that I'll pass to you. He said, try not to become a success, rather try to become a man of value. And there's a monumental difference between the two. I've met men and women all around the world of the highest stature. But the greatest people that I know are some of the neighbors that live right here in South Carolina at home. Those who have devoted every day of their lives to humble service, to the highest ideals. You may remember this quote by Alexis de Tocqueville, that America is great because America is good. And if America ever ceases to be good, America will cease to be great. Some would have you believe that it was when he went to our halls of Congress, our government is there where he determined that we were good, that made us great. But that is not so. It was not until he went to the heartbeat in the grasslands of America that he saw people of faith and family caring for one another and loving for one another. There is where he determined that America is good. And that is why America is great. It's because we as individuals reach out and care for one another and love one another. And I hope that you, in all of your pursuits of success, that you won't seek to be just the best, that more importantly, you'll also seek to be good. Sometimes we learn too late that life is much more than a mad dash to the top. It's a steady climb to fulfill all that God created us to be, whether that leads us to greatness in the world's eyes or to a quiet life of commitment that goes unseen. The true test is whether we're strong enough to maintain the courage of our convictions as we climb. Woodrow Wilson said that we're not here merely to make a living. We're here to enrich the world. And we impoverish ourselves if we forget the errand. The errand is simple. Never stop climbing for the highest standards of success. never stop growing as thinkers, as dreamers, as men and women of great character. America, and yes, South Carolina, needs the gifts you have to give. And we have great faith in the future that you are ready to create. Thank you, good luck, and God bless.
Now we have something else for which to recognize Governor Beasley, that inspired address. His wisdom now joins his good works, making us doubly proud that he is now an alumnus of the College of Charleston. Join me again in recognizing that moment in our 226-year history. I now call on Mr. Joel Smith, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, representing the state of South Carolina, to present the diplomas. Dr. Conrad Festa will be with him in the conferring of the degrees.
Mr. President, upon the successful completion of all requirements and with the recommendation of the faculty, I have the honor to present the graduates of 1996. Assisting with the presentation of the bachelor's degrees will be Dr. David Cohen, Dean of the Libraries and Associate Provost, Dr. Sue Summercrest, Vice President for Enrollment Management, and Dr. Robert Mignon, Speaker of the Faculty.
Assisting with the graduates for the School of the Arts will be Professor David Maves. For the bachelor's degree in art history, joining us will be Professor Diane Johnson, Chair of the department. Kay Conyers Bull, Carrie Dutcher, Cassie T. Ferrali Flord, Rebecca Lee Johnson cum laude has also completed the requirements for graduation in the honors program. Beth Michelle Kostelnik, Joe Robert Matthews Jr., Albert Edward Miller III, Carolyn Christine Mills, Alice Michael Stribling, Catherine Rourke Strobel, Jean Ellen Waugh, Eleanor Ravel Whittick. Michael Edward Williams also meets the requirements for a degree in studio arts. For the bachelor's degree in music, joining us will be Professor Steve Rosenberg, Chair of the department. Dallas Richard Coate, Piper Elizabeth Fleming, Jennifer Marie Medicus also meets the requirements for a degree in psychology, magna cum laude. For the bachelor's degree in studio arts, joining us will be Professor Michael Tyzak, Chair of the department, Benjamin King Adams, George Mitchell Freeman, Richard Woodman Gary III, Ennis Louise Gilbert, Kimberly Ann Condos, Andrea Catherine Lambert, Jessica Liu. Marion Carol Mann also meets the requirements for a degree in communication. Alice Lee Neely, Bragg Swain, cum laude. For the bachelor's degree in theater, joining us will be Professor Alan Lindrup, Chair of the department. Angela Adele Blanton, Quadro Campbell, Dayton French Coley, Cass Cornwall, Thomas Joseph Fisher, Blaze Brendan Fitzgerald, Stephen Michael Forth, Frances Amanda Kennedy, Kenneth Philip Lecquier, Amy Elizabeth Matthews, Barbara Allison Munn also meets the requirements for a degree in communication. William Andrew Owens Jr., Amy Elizabeth Tomberlin, Stephanie C. Whitlock. Assisting with the graduates for the School of Business and Economics will be Dean Howard Rudd. For the bachelor's degree in accounting and in Accounting. Joining us will be Dr. Robert Rouse, Chair of the Department. Students receiving a degree in accounting also meet the requirements for a degree in business administration. Cynthia K. Cordero, Frances Sally Green, Ricky Ray Jenkins, Margaret Genevieve Canapo, Erica Loge, John Everett McGinnis, Marie Teresa Nodine, Patricia Suzanne Ori, cum laude, Ginger Alexander Pettiford, Gordon Michael Rivers, Darrell Manning Wells. For the bachelor's degree in business administration, joining us will be Dr. Rhonda Mack, Chair of the Department. Lancey Alfonso. He has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Michael Brandon Allen, Suzanne Anderson, James E. Baker, Rose Marie Baker, cum laude, Stephen Joseph Bejic, Melissa Ann Bernier, Jason Bichane, Amy Taylor Brown, G. Howard Brown, Kelly Ann Chambers, Ronaldo A. Clement, Deborah Ann Conrad, William Roy Cook III, Carrie Page Copeland, Laura Elizabeth Dover, Christy Danette Eads, Lawrence R. Edison, Michael A. Faust, Eric Theodore Floyd also meets the requirements for a degree in German. Stacy Lynn Gillum also meets the requirements for a degree in communication. John Lloyd Fortenberry, Mildred Elizabeth Fruit, Lee Burnett Givens Jr., Sebastian Bash Gomez, Michelle Marie Gorski, Desmond Carl Barrington Graham, William Gregory Guy, Omar Mohammed Hamid, Jack Bernard Heelan III, Matthew Benjamin Hike, Hunter Charles Herman, David De Hui Ho, Michael Todd Householder, Melanie Page Jackson, Amy DeWeese Jacobs, James Stanley Jedrazik, Thomas Edward Jedrazik, Dennis Allen Jefferson, Jennifer Heather Knight, Michael Kohler, Jeffrey J. Kosowski, Scott Stephen Leslie, Ian Sinclair McClay, summa cum laude, James Hobart McDonnell, Michael Ryan McKenna, Andrew Everett Miller, Jerry Molintas, Christy Lynn Nargis, Jennifer Knoll. Ms. Knoll's diploma will be presented by Harry W. Freeman, Biology Professor Emeritus. Stephanie Celeste O'Bray, Amanda D. Packard, John Bennett Phillips, William Drew Phillips, Donald Roberts, Thomas Edward Roosh, Henry Edwin Sharling III, Fayette Lassiter Severance, Nevin Clayton Shepard, Donald S. Simon, John G. Slick, Jennifer Rebecca Smith, Brian Lamar South Jr., Holly Elizabeth Stafford, Kelly Marie Sweat, Juliana Thurman, Business Administration, also meets the requirements for communication. Ms. Thurman's diploma will be presented by her father, United States Senator J. Strom Thurman, and she's cum laude. Cynthia Jean Warren, Catherine Hope Watkins, Douglas L. Watson, Gregory William Westcott, Carrie Elise Wheeler. Joseph Glenn White, summa cum laude, also has completed requirements for graduation in the honors program. Susan Elizabeth Winter. For the bachelor's degree in economics, joining us will be Dr. J. Michael Morgan, chair of the department. Jack Hamlin Martin. Keith Allen Mish. Assisting with the graduates from the School of Education will be Dean Nancy Sorensen. For the bachelor's degree in elementary education, joining us will be Dr. Virginia Bartell, chair of the department. Lisa Marie Adamek. Melissa K. Adams. Agnes Ori Alexander. Carolyn A. Andrews. Christy Marie Bailey. Stephen Mark Ball. Jennifer Ann Bates, cum laude, has also completed requirements for graduation in the honors program. Cynthia R. Boudreau. Marie Amanda Berry. Mary L. Bland. Jennifer Rachel Bottoms. Amy Lynn Boatnight, cum laude. Shalissa Garrett Bowman. Julie Ann Brock. Crystal Lillian Broom, magna cum laude. Branford M. Bunn. Amy Renee Bird. Shelley Valette Challoner. Jennifer Koppler. Walter Thomas Cuthbert, Jr. Kristen Ann Daneman. Stephanie Lynn Deegan. Marie Brett Deloche. Eliza McNulty Dixon. Monique Jaquetta Douglas. Leah Heather Engler. Heather Lynn Farron. Katina Michelle Fletcher. Susan Carol Furch. Melissa Catherine Ford, cum laude. Michelle Alexandra Fulton. Ms. Fulton's diploma will be presented by her father, Professor Larry Fulton of the Computer Science Department. Sarah Eleanor Garrett. Philip Paul Godet. William Paul Grantham. Carrie Lynn Green. Patricia Gail Griggs. Heather Elise Gross. Gabrielle Lee Gualiano. Amanda Jo Haggard. Karen Elizabeth Harmon. Michael S. Harris. Holly Nicole Hedrick. April Christina Hajima. Heather Michelle Jackson. Kelly Ann Jackson. Tanya Denise Janicke. Caroline Elizabeth Jarrett. Wendy Lee Josephson. Jennifer Lynn Kern. Rebecca J. Lee. Terrence Alexander Lee. Sally Wright Lideker. Latarsha Delissa Lorick. Kimberly Ann Maples. Alma Bernetta Martin also meets the requirements for a degree in communication. Tara Marie Martin, cum laude. Charla Michelle Matthews. Carolyn Marie Meffam. Carla Catherine Murray. Melissa Bennett Murray. Elizabeth Lee Neely. Teresa Celine Nettles. Kelly Ray Nolan. Jenny Elizabeth Norman. Jennifer R. Petco. Jennifer Lane Price. Kimberly Renee Pritchard. Teresa Pye. Jennifer Lee Randall, cum laude. Beverly Van Randolph. Stephanie Shea Rhodes. Elizabeth Richardson. LeConte Cantrice Richardson, cum laude. Tara Lee Roberts, cum laude. Sarah Courtney Sage. Julie Ann Santos. Elizabeth Deanna Scannell. Suzette Charetti. Gina Nicole Scott. Philip Gerard Shackelford. Corinne Garrett Sibley. Elizabeth Powell Silcox. Sandra Elizabeth Smiley. Jennifer Lynn Tomsick. Tricia Denise Tracy. Jennifer Ann Vigue. Stephanie Ann Vozell. Melissa Jean Ward. Nicole Louise Washington. Heather Suzanne Whitby. Suzanne Lee White, magna cum laude. Sandy Denise Wiedmeyer. Blythe Amanda Ziegler. For the bachelor's degree in special education, joining us will be Frances Welsh, chair of the department. Camille Lucille Allen. Jennifer Reeve Allen. Phyllis Denise Allen, magna cum laude. Jennifer Ann Astle. Daphne Lorraine Bowers. Shannon Lee Bridge. Amy Irene Carson, magna cum laude. Diana L. Kramer. Netta Creech. Nina. Elizabeth Timms Dove. Jennifer Adams Downs, cum laude. Christy Michelle Goff. Kelly Jane Griffin. Lori Denise Groff. Carrie Lynn Henderson, cum laude. Robin Yolanda Hill. Betty Bruce Colson Hood. Elena K. Johnson, magna cum laude. Kenneth Wayne Johnson, cum laude. Wandalyn Tikoa Jones. Kimberly Renee Knapp, magna cum laude. Lisa Nicole Losordo. Tianne Beck Lynch, cum laude. Bridget Lynn Martins. Kathleen M. McClay, magna cum laude. Katie McClure. Amy Suzanne McLaurin. Ann E. Molintas. Marianne Norman. Glenda Ann Moore Patierno, cum laude. Heather Michelle Phillips. Natalie J. Pittman. Gregory M. Poray. Heather Caroline Sable. Shane O. Sanford, cum laude. Michelle Sandra Siepert. Roberta Ann Simpson. Jennifer A. Stewart. Brandy A. Terry. Victoria Lunez Thompson. Janet Lorraine Wagner, cum laude. Kimberly Lane Wilson. For the bachelor's degree in physical education, joining us will be Dr. Andrew Lewis, chair of the department. Brandy Michelle Becknell. Anna Ross Boatwright. Anita Joyce Brandt. Valerian Antoine Bruce. Karen Faye Caldwell. Rebecca Campbell, cum laude. Cheryl Louisa Kraft. Ramona Lee D'Amato. Teresa Quinette Daniels. Myra R. Easterling. David Mark Elliott. John Lee Catherine Frazier, magna cum laude. Penny Woodworth Gibson, magna cum laude. Mary Addison Heckard. Michael C. Golomis Holmes. Paul Humphreys, cum laude. Shiraz Kashoni, cum laude. Virgil Maniat Christopher Holmes Matthews, Thomas Anthony Moore, Wiley Murch Moorer Jr., Jane Patricia Murphy, Elizabeth Hayward Nelson, Stacy Lynn Nettles, Kevin Patrick O'Brien, Donald Sidney O'Brien Jr., Kelly Elizabeth Reddick, Tanya May Reilly, magna cum laude, Stacy Renee Schultz, Kimberly Shea Siriski, Kara Shawn Smith, Robin L. Sterling, Jacqueline Marie Simel, cum laude, William B. Tillman, Ashley Elizabeth Tinsley, Andrew Viejo III, cum laude, Leslie Danielle Wade, Whitney Mackenzie Walsh, Alexis Michelle Whitaker, Dawn Michelle Zmuda, magna cum laude, has also completed the requirements for graduation in the honors program.
Assisting with the graduates from the School of Humanities and Social Sciences will be Acting Dean Hugh Wilder. For the bachelor's degree in anthropology, joining us will be Dr. Christine Hope, chair of the department. Melody Beth Brown. Kay Carter also meets the requirements for a degree in history. Justin C. Clark. James L. Crow Jr. also meets the requirements for a degree in biology. John Paul Duffy. Kelly Lane Duke, cum laude. Lee Chapman Falls. Marjorie Ann Frazier. Bonnie L. Frick, cum laude. John Allen Lehman. Zachary Dylan Mangold. Elizabeth S. Mayville. Kristen Marie Nebeski has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Jennifer Elaine O'Neill. Wendy Noel Ritchie, cum laude. Natasha Alexandra Reese. Mary Elizabeth Walker. Monica L. Wiggers. John R. Yarnals. For the bachelor's degree in communication, joining us will be Dr. Nan Morrison, chair of the department. Robert Wayne Allen. Kristen Elizabeth Badger, cum laude. Jane Dahl Balthazar. Stephanie Michelle Beck. Clara N. Bell. Jennifer Bobo. Joseph Patrick Boland. Angela Elaine Bonnet. Robin Renee Booth. Karen Elizabeth Bowman. Catherine Ann Brown. Laura Ann Bullock. Susan Jennifer Burr. Alexander Murray Kavanaugh. Amy Elizabeth Chapman. Jennifer L. Cradle. Claire Elaine Cutts. Nancy Ann Sabala. Patrick O. Davidson. Sarah E. Doty. Susan Ray Duncan. Cheryl Lynn Fenimore. Carrie Charlotte Fletcher. Catherine Fortson. Robert Malcolm Fortson IV. Candace Nicole Maury. Sadiqa Malika Frazier. Stephanie Freeman. Sarah Lynn Gallagher. Todd L. Hagland. James W. McAlpin Hancock III. Elizabeth Ann Hardman. James Carlisle Harrison III. Nicole Lori Hayden. Christopher Brandon Hendrick. Dana E. Hennings. Leah L. Harrington. Lee Wade Henshaw. Mr. Henshaw's diploma will be presented by Dr. Richard Vornefeld, Dean of Students. Micah Darlene Hyman. Kristen Elizabeth Irvin. Kelly Marie Gervais. Brian Scott Johns. J. Paul Joasis Jr. Kristen Lynn Cabasta. John Noonan Kennedy III. Nicole Judith Kennedy. Kate Moran King. Amy Marie Kolb, magna cum laude. Madeline Carol Laboon. Erin Elizabeth Lemons. Stefan Jean Marie. Paul Stefan Marquis. Gary E. Martin. Mary J. Martin. Christopher Maury. Kimberly Melissa McCants. Mary Catherine Maris. Linda Carol Milner. Scott Allen Minton. Eric Stephen Moore. John Thomas Moore. Shannon Elizabeth Nolan. Angela Dawn Olds. Stephen R. Pate. Michelle Denise Poe. Christopher Edward Pugh. Alexis Rashford. James Houston Roberts. Adam Alden Rosenketter. Keith Rosequist. William Howard Rowland. Sarah Elizabeth Roy. Emily Lane Savage. Linda Fry Schweffler. Joseph Rush Scholl IV. Brad Douglas Simmons. Channing Paul Smith. Maria Elena Sopranzi. T. Cooper Thomas. Michael S. Tuttle. Murray McIntosh Urquhart. Chadwick Lindsay Vale. Stacy D. Vanderplow. Johnny Chip Walker Jr. Mary E. Whitehurst. Myra Atward Whittemore. Christian Joy Williams, cum laude. She has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Emily Elizabeth Williams. John Z. Williams, Jr. Daniel David Wolf. Sherelle Franklin Young III. For the bachelor's degree in English, joining us will be Dr. Nan Morrison, chair of the department. Nathaniel Lloyd Allen, cum laude. He's also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Catherine E. Berry. Anne Marie Caggiano. Catherine Colors Chance, cum laude. Catherine Elizabeth Cleland. Tina Marie Kundari. She's also completed the requirements for the honors program. Kristen Korth Dangerfield. Sarah Elizabeth Demonich. Gina K. Ellis. Randall R. Falcon. Joshua Daniel Farah. Rachel Fagan. Matthew David Hall. Jennifer June Hamilton. L. Michelle Harvey. Sophia Lieselot Hasselgren. Mark Kramer Hoven. Tanner Woodfin Jacobs. Linda Cooper Knight, magna cum laude. Daniel Wayne Luganbill, cum laude. Eric David McLeod. Belinda Chantelle Miller. Anthony C. Moreno. Jennifer Caulfield Robertson. David Thomas Ross. Carmen Clara Snyder, cum laude, magna cum laude. Paula Ann Sartor. Charlotte Georgianne Scott. Mary Catherine Scott. Marie Barden Summers. Tina Marie Smith. Tiffany Ray Sunkel. Andrea K. Thompson, magna cum laude. Shirley Elizabeth Watson, also meets requirements for the French degree, cum laude. Catherine Nichols Williams. For the bachelor's degree in history, joining us will be Dr. George Hopkins, chair of the department. Leslie Marie Acree, cum laude. Arlene E. Allison, summa cum laude. Kevin James Boyd, also meets the requirements for a degree in German. Matthew Scott Crisp. Darren Drum. Douglas Joseph Frail. Stephanie Ann Hopkins. Brian Douglas Kepnick. James Dunlap Lawson. Holly Leanna McCormick. Sally Alyn McDaniel. Daniel Barnes McLaurin. Roy David McMaster, cum laude. Jason W. Murphy. Karen Ethel Nugent. Gary Ronald Painter. Danielle Renee Patchen. Lyda Elizabeth Ramsey. Elizabeth Ann Shuffler. Eugene Sinkler II. William Steffens. Brittany Ann Tyler. Edward Bush Weathersby. William R. Young III. For the bachelor's degree in classics, joining us will be Dr. Carla Lowry, chair of the department. Allison Christine Deason. Helen Cooper Pratt-Thomas. For the bachelor's degree in French, joining us will be Dr. Jeff Foster, chair of the department. Helena Beberdian, cum laude. She also meets the requirements for the degree in psychology. Christopher John Bilchek. Julia Rebecca Fellers. Joshua Xavier Gilliam. Suzanne Tyler Grubbs. Lauren Darnell Hayes. Bridget Lynn Iskett. Mary Elizabeth Langston. Amanda Lindsay Modern. Rachel Suzanne Santos, magna cum laude. Jennifer Lee Stieglitz. For the bachelor's degree in German, joining us will be Dr. Carla Lowry, chair of the department. Erica Denise Brown. Dawn Michelle Ray. For the bachelor's degree in Spanish, joining us will be Dr. Herbert Espinosa, chair of the department. Victoria Gabriela Arcos. Cameron Carol Carlisle. Kim R. Coker. Denise Thomas Fahey. Christina Marie Fontaine. Nathan Strauss. Sarah Elizabeth Taylor, magna cum laude. Alfred Dwight Watkins III. For the bachelor's degree in philosophy, joining us will be Dr. Hugh Wilder, chair of the department. Anna Marie Candela. Jeffrey S. Klein. Edward Gerard McDonald. Roy E. Monroe. Christopher A. Ott. Rebecca Myrene Pugh. James Mackenzie Thurman also meets the requirements for a degree in German, and he's also completed the requirements for the honors program. For the bachelor's degree in political science, joining us will be Dr. Jack Parson, chair of the department, and Dr. William Moore. Jennifer Lynn Addison, cum laude. Joseph Donald Ahern. Thomas Daniel Altman. John Alfred Baden IV. Jackson Harvey Brown. Melinda Lee Budd. Philip Alston Butler. Richard Manning Camlin III. Peter Scott Carnohan. Tammy M. Kosich. Charles Connor Crook III, cum laude. He's also completed the requirements for the honors program. Nancy Carolyn Cutchin. Nancy has also completed the requirements for the honors program. Mary Jackson Davenport. Kim Teresa Dubose, magna cum laude. She's also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Philip Stavros Ferderigos, summa cum laude. He has a double minor in history and sociology, and he's also completed the requirements for the honors program. Carolyn Helen Fox, magna cum laude. Stephanie Ann Goss, cum laude. Benjamin Edward Grimsley. Catherine Alexander Helen. Sharon Lynn Hartley, cum laude. Mary Scott Hayes. Daniel Nathan Hudy. Theresa Lynn Hyder. Derek Cordell. Tracy L. Lamb. John Bernard Lefcourt. Charles Robertson Meyer. Mr. Meyer's diploma will be presented by Dr. Richard Vornevelt, Dean of Students. Darren Richard Meany. Kelly Ann Morgan. Timothy Scott Mulder. Stacy L. Fippen. Rensselaer Resch. Ronald Bernard Rowland Jr. Sasha Russo. Carmen Elizabeth Sessions. Helen Ann Siegling. Joseph Eugene Suttle. John Laurie Sweeney Jr. Carrie Lee Thomas, cum laude. Ashley Cantwell Tobias. Javier Vivanco. Jeffrey Richard Wagner. John K. Wells. Crystal Rochelle Wilson. Brandon J. Winchester.
For the bachelor's degree in psychology, joining us will be Dr. David Gentry, chair of the department. Ashley Elizabeth Badger. Angela Lee Elizabeth Bandy. Carolyn Barber. Ann Weatherly Barnes. Susan Marie Bates. Brenda Elizabeth Bissell, magna cum laude. Donna Emily Brown. Liza Browning. Willow Amanda Brunswick. Kimberly Marie Canup. Scott Andrew Clayton, nicknamed Kiwi. Stephanie D. Cohen. Melissa Ann Cook. Elizabeth Caroline Cordell. Lori E. Courtney. Kimberly Ann Cowley. Ashley Charlene Davis. Gregory Malcolm Davis. Suzanne Erdeschat. Judy Lynn Engelbert. Bridget N. Erickson. Allison Elizabeth Farrell. Margaret Hallman Finch. Amy Elizabeth Funderburk. Tiffany Altman Gouch. Michael Andrew Green, cum laude. Cameron Elizabeth Gregg. Ruthie Lorraine Grubb. Janet Elaine Hall Ray. Angela Lynn Howard. David R. Helps, Jr. Heather Linda Hester. Allison Renee Height. Kimberly Diane Howard. Laurie Beckman Jameson. Patricia Marlene Johnson, cum laude. Margaret Elizabeth Jones. Megan Ann Jurecko. Tiffany Lee Keller. Allison Nichols Kennedy. Aaron William David Kinnan also meets the requirement for a degree in communication. Kelly Kristen Knight. Margaret O. Land. Crystal Lee Leitner. Alicia Jershel. Alicia Jershel Lockhart. Kimberly Ann Moss. Bradford Christian Manley. Patrick B. Manning. Lara Nicole Markowitz. Allison Abigail McLeod. Karen Ann Miller. Margaret Scripture Mitchell. William Henry Moody Jr., magna cum laude. He's also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Elizabeth Alexandra Morgan, cum laude. Stacy L. Morgan. Lisa Robin Myers. Jennifer L. Nance. Robert Ernest Neff. Kristen K. Nettles. Carol G. Perrine. Brandy L. Perfloy. Ellen Brandon Pyatt. Pamela Louise Pinkney. Jennifer W. Pinner. Lisa Kathleen Pointer. Corin Jean Rydell. Moultrie Douglas Roberts. Dawn Michelle Rook. Beth Ann Sexton. Brittany Hancock Shower. Catherine Clark Sloop, Jennifer Colleen Spragans, Tracy Ann Stribling, Deetra Lena Stukes, Deetra Lene Stukes, Erin Lee Summers, Melanie Elaine Taylor, cum laude, Laura Jean Teal, summa cum laude, has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Jody Lynn Thomas, Jacqueline Lorraine Thompson, Megan Dawn Thompson, Janice Michelle Tulin, Amy Tao, Susan Marie Tremel, Timothy Joseph Talmy Jr., Marcia Whistler, also meets the requirements for a degree in sociology. Cynthia Renee White, Kimberly Marion Williams, cum laude, Amy Clark Wilson, Suzanne Aline Wise, Allison Randall Wright. For the bachelor's degree in sociology, joining us will be Dr. Christine Hope, chair of the department. Shardy Lynn Baird, Mary Ryan Boatger, Amy Marie Bryan, Pamela Jean Burke, Rachel Dawn Casey, Anne Elizabeth Clifford, Julie Harrington Colton, Karen Nicole Davis, Stephen M. Del Monte, Heidi L. Doan, Kenneth Ray Dunbar, Demetria D. Durant, Michaela Evander, Lance Michael Feldman, Renee Moore Gardner, William Scott Gasperson, Tammy Michelle Graven, Amy Lucille Guten, Brenda Holzberg, Mary Charles Horn, Angel Hewlett, Danielle Marie Hunt, James Henry Kennedy, Angela Marie Larissy, Kenneth Matthew LaRusso, Meredith Diane Metz, Randolph Kent Owens Jr., Christine Ann Pitts, Rachel Butler Pridgeon, Samuel Hodges Rourke, Terry Matthew Shealy, Jennifer Lane Smith, Michelle Lynn Thrasher has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Laura Noel Wilsey, Joy Denise Williams, Landis Inez Williams, Timothy Allen Wojcik, also meets the requirements for a degree in elementary education. Thanks. For the bachelor's degree in urban studies, joining us will be Dr. Jane McCullough, chair of the department. John Paul Bradley II, Laurie Ann Jones, Jolie Cynthia Robbins. Assisting with the graduates from the School of Science and Mathematics will be Dean Gordon Jones. For the bachelor's degree in biology, joining us will be Dr. Louis Burnett, chair of the department. Kelly Ann Abrams, Rebecca Lee Amerson. Sonia Lily Ard Kelly, also meets the requirements for the degree in biochemistry and chemistry. Has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program and cum laude. Daniel Eric Barton also meets the requirements for a degree in history. Adrienne Marie Beck. Nicole Janine Bennett. Laurie Elaine Boland. Scott Gregory Brady. Frederick E. Brown. R. Virginia Brown. Elizabeth Joy Birch. Shannon Lee Carithers. Elin Ann Kate. Emily Gail Cato. Shanna Lillian Cato. Jeannie Marie Chapman. Magna cum laude, has also completed the requirements for the graduation from the honors program. Franklin Allen Plum, Jr. Matthew Wayne Collier. Christy Michelle Collins. Wilford Lee Craven. Emily Caroline Crawford, cum laude. Gregory W. Eason. George W. Eason also meets the requirements for a degree in political science. Mark Daniel Elliott, cum laude, has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Mark Jarvis Engelke. Letty V. English. Tarshi Nicole Ford. Grant Eugene Fulbright. Mark Garfinkel. David F. G. Also meets the requirement for a degree in anthropology. Jarrett Jason Givens. Armenica Deshawn Goodwin. Leslie Ann Green. Miranda Elizabeth Hall. Cynthia Lee Hammett. Joanna Lee Hanson. Matthew James Hensel. Melissa Lee Hess, cum laude. Steve Everett Herndon. Louis H. Holmes III. George Barry Jackson, Jr. Leonard Paul Johns. Misha Twan Johnson. Jeffrey Del Rosio Jose. Brad A. Keith has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Marshall Hammond Kinsey. Tracy G. Lund. Elizabeth Irene Majewski. David William Manning. Mary Garrity Maybank. Charlotte Lee McConnell. Angela Karen McKenzie. John George McRoberts, summa cum laude, has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Shannon Janine Meese. Stephen Marshall Merritt. Eric Dane Messervy, magna cum laude. Karina Moeller. Nicole Faye Melino. Edith Lee Mullins, cum laude. Barry Anthony Nickel. Kyle Garish Parrick. Amanda Ray Parker. Rebecca Cheatham Parker. Anne Elizabeth Peterson. Stephen Lane Pollock. Robert Ray Porzio also meets requirements for a degree in psychology. Eleanor F. Reese, cum laude, has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Lori Renee Roberts. Christina Lee Robinson. Lacey Robinson. Stanley John Rutkowski. Angela Carol Sampson. Judy Ann Scheffler. Travis Marshall Shannon. Heather Sharp. Tracy Ann Smith. Jonathan Todd Smear. Nicole Janine Spoor. Ronald Dale Sperling, summa cum laude. Adam Gregory Stone. Aziz Christian Tehan also meets the requirements for degrees in chemistry and history. Holly Wilson Taylor. Mary Margaret Thomas. Wynn Trin. Scott Allen Weeks. Margaret Elizabeth Whaley. Margaret also meets the requirements for a BS in physical therapy from the Medical University of South Carolina. Sonia Lynn Whitaker. Karen Elizabeth Williams. Robert Justin Williams. David Wingler. Molly Lynette Wissinger, cum laude. Heather Noel Zach. For the bachelor's degree in marine biology, joining us will be Dr. Louis Burnett, chair of the department. David J. Caldwell, Jr. Eugene Joseph Ferry, Jr., cum laude. Meredith J. Gibson. Michael Christopher Hammond. James Hartman. Karen K. Haranick Johnson. Allison Lynn McCarthy. Rachel Elizabeth Metz. Cynthia Lee Morton. Blake Edward Mosley. Carolyn Ann Souter. Donna Marie Schlegel. Scott Christopher Schultz, cum laude. Lisa Lewis Smith. Jennifer L. Stringer. Philip Robert Weinbach. For the bachelor's degree in biochemistry, joining us will be James Dever, chair of the department. Students receiving a degree in biochemistry also meet the requirements for a degree in chemistry. Tina Marie Botello, cum laude, also meets the degree for a BA in chemistry. Susan Amy Corley, cum laude. Adam William Darcy. Ron Jacob Feldman, summa cum laude. Alema Galiotovic, cum laude. Has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Timothy Wellen Kenny. Dewey Y. McWhirter III, cum laude. Charlotte Ann Newman, magna cum laude, has also completed the requirements for graduation from the honors program. Scott Eric Pollack. Camus Trin. Brian Lacey Vandal. For the bachelor's degree in chemistry, joining us will be Dr. James Dever, chair of the department. Ann Cameron Church, cum laude. Karen Ann Moody. Brenda K. Pearson. Stefan Schilling, magna cum laude. Ashley Stephen Scott. Sonia Michelle Voss. Deborah Lynn Witkoff. For the bachelor's degree in Information Systems, joining us will be Dr. George Pothering, Chair of the Department. Eric Dale Dinkelbach. For the bachelor's degree in Computer Science, joining us will be Dr. George Pothering, Chair of the Department. Pandale Arvanetis. Catherine Hope Bryan, cum laude. Roseanne Jones. Ken Weimer, cum laude. For the bachelor's degree in geology, joining us will be Dr. Michael Katuna, Chair of the Department. Timothy Spencer Delaney also meets the requirements for a degree in marine biology. Charles Scott Elliott. Melissa Jimenez. Megan Elizabeth Kavikin also meets the requirements for a degree in biology. Laura Ann Murray. Karen Elaine Waters. For the bachelor's degree in mathematics, joining us will be Dr. William Golightly, Chair of the Department. Steve Edward Bragg. Tracy L. Howard, cum laude. Jacqueline Wynn. Chris Ellis Potwer. Ann Lee Winter, magna cum laude. For the bachelor's degree in physics, joining us will be Dr. Robert Dukes, Chair of the Department. Alan Espano. Stephen James Lindauer II, cum laude. David Anthony Pelkey. Christopher P. Petruzak, cum laude. Marcia Curtis Smoke also meets the requirements for a degree in biology. In psychology, sorry. Joshua Sproul. Michael Christopher Stone.
Not quite yet. One more minute. Okay. We got to say one more word. We got to say that we have 3 students with a perfect 4.0 GPA. Isn't that amazing? Arlene Allison with a BA in History. Philip Stavros Ferrekados with a BA in Political Science. And Laurie Thiel with a BA in Psychology, a perfect GPA. Congratulations. Now, will all the candidates for the bachelor's degrees please rise? Okay. By the authority granted to me by the College of Charleston Board of Trustees, the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science as earned has been conferred upon these candidates. At this time, the Audium Baccalaureate degrees will be awarded separately. The Ancient and Honorable degree in Classical Studies, existing at the College of Charleston since the beginning of time, requires, among other things, a minimum of 18 hours in Greek and Latin beyond the elementary level, 12 hours in the principal classical language selected by the student, and 6 hours in the secondary language, as well as classical courses and courses in culture and civilization of the ancient world. The College of Charleston unique among colleges and universities in America, has awarded the degree for more than 2 centuries. The grand tradition continues today in the persons of Allison Christine Deason, Cynthia G. Hare, Helen Cooper Pratt Thomas, who earned a GPA of 3.9 after transferring from the University of South Carolina, Rebecca Lee Johnson, and Joanna Lee Hanson. Will they please rise, especially, and it is traditional that the audience also stand, so will the audience stand while I confer these degrees in the ancient Latin saying, Curatoribus Auticum Trabinius hos Ivanus and Humanius Literis Proclea Erudos et gradum audium baccalaris et misi, all words to that effect. We who have been your teachers have taught you all we know. We await with pride and hope the unfolding of your dreams, the achievement of your goals, the emergence of your vision. I'm going to spare you the cliche of every graduation ceremony. I will not tell you that the future is yours. The future is not a gift. The future is an achievement. It has to be earned. If you have both feet firmly planted on level ground, if you face the future supremely confident, if you think you know all the answers, the College of Charleston has failed you. The future does not belong to those who are self-satisfied or to those who are content, nor does it belong to those who have forgotten the past. We are now becoming a part of your past, and we will remember you, and we hope you will remember us. We hope you will remember to teach us as we once taught you. We love you all very much.
Thank you.